So I had an intro for this video, and it was kind of like a mini essay to go into the actual essay, but it was just too long, and I really didn't want this to be a two-parter, so I had to scrap it. I might end up using it and just post it as its own thing at some point. But anyway, for this video, I will be going through the Judas Contract arc in Season 2 of Teen Titans, or as I like to call it, Emo Frozen. If you haven't seen it, it's just 5 episodes, so it's just like a long movie, and I would recommend it, but unfortunately for this video there are quite a few trigger warnings, especially because I get into the comics, which are a thing that exist. So with that being said, I want to put in some trigger warnings for both mental and physical abuse, as well as grooming and manipulation, and because of the comics, also sexual assault and pedophilia. I know that sucks, but gotta at least mention it. So yeah, this video is gonna be fun. Okay, let's go. So, in Season 2, Episode 3, Terra, we meet Gilgamesh. I'm not sure if that weird sentence structure was worth that Luke Cold joke. I think it's developmentally noteworthy that when the Titans invite Terra back to the Titans Tower, the first thing she does is eat, take a bath, and wash her clothes. This is because she doesn't have the same access to these necessities that most people do, because she's homeless.
You mean you don't have a home?
The Earth is my home. I've been crashing in a cave on the other side of the hill.
But what's interesting is that when we first meet Terra, she has a very happy-go-lucky, down-to-earth personality, but in the back of her mind, she's being pragmatic. She's thinking, who knows when I'll get another opportunity to wash my clothes, and how long will I be able to stay here, all under a chill facade. In reality, Terra is probably the least chill person alive. Because here's the thing about Terra. She can't control her powers. And she has a lot of guilt, shame, and insecurity surrounding this.
I'm sorry. I'm so stupid. Don't tell. Please don't tell.
Terra, it's okay. You can't totally control your powers. So what?
We don't know exactly why this is, but there is a line that Slade says that essentially explains it.
Earthquakes, avalanches, mudslides. Everywhere you go, you try to do good. And everywhere, you fail.
But we don't get a flashback. And I have to say, I think that's kind of fantastic. I mean, I love flashback episodes, I do. So many of my favorite episodes are flashback episodes. I think they're a fantastic tool for character development and world building. But they aren't always needed. But with this storyline, Teen Titans takes a more nuanced, less is more approach. We don't know what happened to Terra, but we don't need to. We see the way her past shapes her, the way being alone shapes her, and we can make our own interpretations from there. Instead of just getting a black and white explanation for why she is the way she is. Instead of an exposition, her backstory is in her actions. It's right there on her face. Which I think is a perfect example of show don't tell storytelling. Terra runs away at the end of the episode after Robin guesses that she can't control her powers. And Slade stalks her, or continues to stalk her. It's predatory behavior. I kind of sound like Mario from Mario Bros. When I'm like, it's a spicy criminal. We see Terra again in the episode Titan Rising. She returns now able to control her powers, but what the Titans don't know is that Slade's the one who taught her how to control them, and she now works for him. What I find noteworthy about this episode is that when Terra thinks the Titans are rejecting her, she tries to hide the tears in her eyes. And I mean, maybe it's part of the act, but if it was, why would she turn away like that? Like, girl, you're supposed to be tricking them, right? But I think she's just the type of person who's desperate for validation from literally anyone, which is what makes her such a great candidate for manipulation. Not only that, but I think that Terra genuinely likes the Titans and wants to be friends with them. My theory is just that she's disassociated from reality a little bit. There's further evidence of this disassociation theory in the episode Betrayal, where she, betrays them. In this episode, Terra says that she doesn't even know why she did what she did.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen.
Then why did you let it?
I don't know, okay? I don't know.
We also see into Terra's psyche a little bit in this episode. I think she has a really distorted sense of self, obviously as the mirrors show, and I think she also has mental illness. And her inability to control her powers is perhaps a metaphor for the difficulties in managing mental illness. You thought I was joking about this storyline being like Frozen, didn't you? Well, I'm not. The beginning of Aftershock Part 1 starts like this, and I had to watch it, so now you have to watch it too.
You belong to me now, don't you?
I do.
From this day forward, will you serve me and me only?
I will.
Will you obey my every command?
I will.
Slade's grooming dialogue in both the second season of Teen Titans and honestly the first season is really specific. But this whole dialogue exchange is all about giving up one's identity and free will. Which makes sense because Terra doesn't seem like herself at all in this episode. That bubbly, goofy girl is gone. And in her place is a kind of stereotypical villain. And Terra is her worst in this episode, so I know it's kind of convenient for me to be like, well, she's not really responsible for her actions because she was brainwashed and it's not her fault, but I do think those things are true. Which is why she admitted in Betrayal that she didn't have a motivation and she didn't want to hurt anyone, despite putting all the time and energy she put into doing what she did. I mean, that's what being brainwashed looks like. I don't know what else to tell you. Terra does start to snap out of it at the beginning of Aftershock Part 2. And she even tries to leave Slade. But there's a problem. Terra's villain suit is embedded into her nervous system, which I don't know how that could happen to one without them noticing. You think you would feel that, but because of this, Slade can control Terra physically using the suit, which probably represents the fact that he was literally already controlling her. But if you think about this for more than 0 seconds, it gets pretty disturbing, especially with the context of the comics where, oh god, Slade and Terra were actually romantically involved. Yes, she's always 14, and he's always, well, not. So obviously they can't have them be in a relationship on a cartoon, but in this, Slade is controlling Terra's body without her consent. Interpret that as you will, but it is a physical violation. I don't mean to be ruining your childhood, and I don't like talking about this. It makes me uncomfortable, but I do think the context of the comics is relevant. because it creates a subtext in numerous scenes that is, well, a choice.
Terra, why?
Because you could never give her what she needs.
Hello, I don't like that line. Could you, maybe say that a little differently, please? I mean, you can't have Slade go by Deathstroke because death is in his name, but you can get away with this stuff? Really? Terra does eventually break Slade's control through the power of friendship, I guess. But not before asking for a mercy killing.
Terra?
Destroy me, quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, a mercy destroying. Nice save, Cartoon Network. But I do think that the end of this story has a nice message. Like, you can get through anything through the love and support of your friends and... Oh, she turned into a statue. Oh, okay. Cool. It always surprises me that people see Terra as a villain. I see her more as a tragic hero. Aristotle describes a tragic hero as someone who cannot become a hero until they see the root of their own downfall. Some of the characteristics of a tragic hero are a flaw or error in judgment, a reversal in fortune, the discovery that the hero's downfall was brought about by their own actions. The audience must feel a dramatic irony for the character, and their fate must be worse than they deserved. The sixth characteristic is that they come from nobility, which is actually arguable if you go by the original comic, which I personally don't with this storyline, but that's just me. But still, it kind of fits her, you know, to a T. In fact, the T on Terra's shirt doesn't stand for Terra, it doesn't stand for Titan, it stands for Tragic Hero. In the end, Terra was just an insecure girl who wanted to belong, but she didn't think she was good enough for the Titans. It's like that quote from The Perks of Being a Wildflower, we accept what we think we deserve. I'm Olivia, and this has been Cartoon Science.